All right, welcome back. Today, we are jumping right into the deep end and decoding the whole admissions game for one of India's top international schools. We're talking steps, deadlines, and yeah, even the money. So let's get right to it. So if you're a parent, does this question hit a little close to home? Yeah, I thought so. Trying to figure out the admissions process for these top schools can feel like, well, a total maze, right? There's info everywhere, but none of it seems clear. That's what we're going to clear up today. And we're going to do that by zeroing in on one school in particular, Pathway World School in Gurgaon. Think of this as our case study, because once you understand how they do things, you'll see it's kind of like a playbook for a lot of these other elite schools too. Okay, so first things first, what exactly is Pathway World School? Before we dive into how to get in, let's get a really clear picture of what we're even talking about here. Yeah, so Pathway is different. It's not your standard school. We're talking a pure international baccalaureate, or IB, curriculum from class 3 all the way up. You've got options for both day school and boarding. But here's the real standout feature, the diversity. I mean, students from over 18 different countries. It's basically a global village right there on campus. All right, so the school sounds pretty incredible, right? But now for the million-dollar question every parent has to ask. Is my child actually eligible? Let's break down exactly what they're looking for. You know, the basic criteria are pretty straightforward, which is nice. Your child has to meet the age requirement for their grade. That's a given. You'll need to submit their past school records, of course. And for the older kids, there's going to be some kind of interaction or assessment. It's really all about making sure every student lands in the right spot to, really succeed. Now, when it comes to how your child will actually attend, you've got two main options. The day scholar track is open for all grades, no problem, but the boarding option, that really immersive 24/7 experience, that doesn't kick in until middle school. And that's a really key thing for you to think about, depending on your child's age and, just their readiness. Okay, so we've covered what the school is and who can apply. Now for the main event, the how. This is the real nuts and bolts of our explainer, the actual step-by-step application process. And look, they've actually made this pretty simple. It boils down to a 4-step journey. Step 1, you fill out the form online and pay the application fee. Step 2, the school schedules that all-important assessment or interaction. Step 3, if all goes well, you get that offer letter. And finally, step 4, you've got a tight 10 to 15-day window to pay the fees and lock in that seat. See? It's straightforward, it's quick, and there's no messing around. Okay, listen up, because this is important. Get out your calendar and a big red marker. For the 2026-27 session, the absolute final deadline for applications is December 31st, 2026. Seriously, this is not something you want to leave to the last minute. And this quote really says it all, doesn't it? The whole process is designed to be efficient. Once that offer lands in your inbox, the clock starts ticking. That 10 to 15-day deadline, it tells you that they're looking for families who are serious and ready to commit. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the part everyone is really waiting for, the money. How much does all of this actually cost? We're going to get super transparent here and break down the entire financial investment. Okay, so the big number you're looking at for the very first year is somewhere in the ballpark of 21 to 27 lakhs. Whoa, that's a serious number for sure. So let's break down exactly what makes up that total. So here's how it all breaks down, which is super helpful. You've got your one-time fees, things like registration, the admission fee, and a security deposit, which, by the way, is refundable. Then you have your recurring fee, which they call the composite fee. That's the one you'll pay every quarter for tuition and all the core stuff. When you see it laid out like this, it makes planning for it a whole lot less intimidating. And if you're a visual person, think of it like this. In that first year, about a quarter of your total cost is all those one-time payments. The other 3/4, the big chunk, is the ongoing cost for the actual education that year. And just a couple more quick but important things on the money front. Boarding and transport? Yeah, those are extra costs, which makes sense. But hey, here's some good news if you have more than one kid. There's a sibling rebate of up to 10%. And that can definitely add up. Okay, so you've checked the eligibility boxes, you've got the application process down, and you understand the costs. Now for the final piece of the puzzle. How do you give your child an edge? How do you make their application stand out in a pile of others? Let's get into the strategy. And here it is, folks. This is probably the biggest insider tip we can give you. When it comes to the entrance assessments, it's not about knowing a little bit of everything. There's a huge, huge emphasis on two specific things, math and logic. So what does that mean for preparation? It means you need to be strategic. It's all about building those strong foundational skills. You want to really prioritize math. Spend time sharpening those logical reasoning abilities. And this is key. Just sending them to some generic tutoring class might not cut it. You really want preparation that's targeted specifically for this kind of assessment. And don't just take my word for it. The research totally backs this up. For these specific high-stakes IB school tests, getting targeted coaching with proven results is what builds that strong foundation and gives students that critical competitive edge. So when you pull it all together, what's the big takeaway? A successful application isn't just one magic bullet. It's really a three-part formula: meeting the basic criteria, navigating the process correctly, and maybe most importantly, preparing strategically. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. The school calls itself Pathway World School. It's literally in the name, a pathway to the world. So after seeing everything that's involved, the question for you is, for the right student, is this investment truly that pathway?